A good day to everyone. For this video lecture on ANSI 110, I will be discussing a new chapter which is on the title, The Meat We Eat. So if you can look into your syllabus, this chapter will focus mainly on the animal growth and then the biology of the development of, like, for example, the muscles and then the fat. So that's the myogenesis for the muscle and then lipogenesis for the fats. And then we will also talk about the physical and then the chemical composition of the meat and then the meat classification and identification. So all of those subtopics will be covered here in this chapter, which is the meat we eat. Okay, so before we go into the discussion, I will introduce to you what is the objectives for this topic. So first, at the end sana ng topic na to, the student should be able to explain, identify, and understand the animal growth and development and biological processes involved in muscle and fat development. Actually, this is the first for this lecture discussion, this video discussion, we will talk about itong first objective. And then also, we can discuss here, discuss and illustrate, sorry for that, illustrate dapat yan, discuss and illustrate the growth curve and the development of muscle and fat. And then, for the succeeding discussion, we will talk about the physical and chemical composition of meat and factors affecting each of the components. So you should know or you should enumerate and discuss those physical and chemical composition of meat. And then analyze and describe the physical properties of meat, including color, texture, and marbling, and then classify meat based on species. So either it is a beef, pork, poultry. So I think you have a lab exercise for that. And then differentiate between red and white meat. So ano nga ba yung difference between a red meat, like for example a beef, compared to a white meat, like for example a chicken meat. Okay? Then discuss the classification and criteria of identifying meat from different farm animals. Okay? So those are the objectives for this chapter. So with that, let's go into our first subtopic, which is on the animal growth as well as the biology of muscle and fat development. So we will talk about how the animal grow, because when we say growth of the animal, usually the one that is growing is first skeleton, the organs as well as the muscle. So we need to know about this before we go deeper into like the deeper discussions on the meat itself. And then because of that, since we are talking about animal growth, then we will talk about biology of muscle development, which is actually called the myogenesis, and then fat development, which is called lipogenesis. Okay, so that's the parang gist of what we are going to talk about. So first, let's go into animal growth. So when we say growth, in animals, it is the increase in tissue mass. Okay? So increase in tissue mass. Meaning, lalaki yung mass or mag-i-increase yung mass ng tissue mo, or it can be an accumulation of protein, fat, and bone over time. So all of this is considered growth. So growth can reflect changes in the size, development, and structures of various organs and tissues. Overall lang, pag lumaki, increase in size, pwede yung mga tissues mo and other organs mo, then that is growth. Okay? Pag nag-develop yung tissues and organs mo, that is also growth. Okay? So like for example, itong nandito sa diagram, you have like a duckling. So makikita naman yung growth niya as it goes from a duckling until to a full-fledged adult duck. Makikita na when it comes to tissue mass, lumaki talaga yung muscles. Like for example, yung muscle tissues. Makikita naman. Aside from that, even the feathers develop. So may development na nangyayari. So meaning, it also grow. May growth na nangyari. Ganon yung animal growth. Basta laging tatandaan, usually it is an increase in tissue mass or the accumulation. When we say accumulation, nagtitipon, uh, proteins, fats, and bones that usually grows over time. And yun, nagre-reflect yung growth sa changes in size, tulad ng nakikita dito, nagde-develop. Like for example, yung mga feathers yung nakikita dito, nag-develop yung feathers niya. And then, yung structure mismo ng mga various organs. Like for example, kahit itong mga external organs lang, like for example, yung beak niya, makikita na nagbago. Okay? So, yon yung growth. So, when we say growth, it is a continuous process. During the lifetime of an animal, lumalaki at lumalaki yan. Okay? So, from that time, zygote formation until the animal reaches its maturity age or mature weight at the adult stage. So, yan, continuous process from zygote formation until embryo, and then um, naiyanakin, ubingin hanggang sa naging mature na. Okay, nag-stop lang yung growth until such time that the animal reaches its mature weight. So again, this diagram, makikita naman, like for example dito, nandito pa lang yung embryo, nagde-develop pa lang. Doon pa lang sa egg, nagde-develop, may growth na nangyayari. Okay, and then like for example, ito, egg, naging ganito. So, why? Bakit naging ganyan? Because of growth. One reason is because of growth. Okay? And then kung makikita, ito, lalaki ng ganito, lalaki ng ganito. So, it's a continuous process. Until such time na it will reach yung parang peak maturity wherein hindi na nag-grow or parang stagnant na. Stagnant na yung growth. So, usually it is in the adult stage now. Okay? So, most fetal growth occurs during the final third of pregnancy in cattle and then sheep, and from about day 70 onwards it peaks. Although genesis and growth of vital organs and body tissues commences during early gestation. Ang sinasabi lang dito, kahit hindi pa naipanganak yung ating mga animals, may growth na nangyayari in the form of fetal growth. So, most fetal growth daw ng mga cattle and sheep occurs during the final third of pregnancy. Yung malapit ng mga anak, yung mga cattle and sheep, doon na-observe yung fetal growth. And then, sa pigs naman, 70 onwards during the gestation period. Okay? So, and then, may fetal growth, pero although bone and muscle continue to grow in an essentially linear manner during postnatal growth, to mature size, adipose tissue grows at an increasing rate. Ang ibig sabihin nito, yung bone and muscle natin, pag nasa postnatal growth pa lang, essentially linear, meaning hindi pa siya ganon nag-grow. Although may changes na sa muscle growth, hindi pa siya ganon linear pa lang. Parang straight line lang muna. Wala pang growth na na-observe kumbaga. Okay? Yung adipose tissue naman, it grows at an increasing rate. Yun yung ibig sabihin. Nag-grow siya at an increasing rate. Yung ating muscle during postnatal, medyo linear pa lang. Pero yung fat natin nag-grow at an increasing rate. So, hence, during postnatal growth, the percentage of bone and muscle in the body declines, while that of adipose tissue, increases. So, kung makikita dito, as it grows over, as time goes on, yung percentage ng muscle growth natin, bababa. Muscle and bone bababa. While that of adipose tissue, makikita dito, tataas. Okay, yung fat natin, yung percentage ng growth niya. When it comes naman sa weight basis kasi, usually kasi, tataba, or yun, mag-gain ng weight. So, all of those, muscle, fat, or bone, mag-i-increase in weight yan, mag-i-increase ng weight. Pero kung titignan dito sa percentage, yung growth rate kumbaga nitong muscles and fats and bones natin, over time, yung muscles natin, yung percentage na mag-grow, bababa. Same goes to our bone, pero yung fat natin tataas. So parang sinasabi na as you grow older, yung muscles mo hindi masyadong nag-grow na, pero tataba ka. Ganon yung parang sinasabi dyan. Okay? So with that, let's go to the factors that affect growth of an animal. So there are large variations both within and among animal species in size, growth rate, body composition, and metabolism. That is observable. So like for example, large variations within and among animal species. So let's just say you have the goat na livestock species natin, ruminant species natin, and then you have yung cattle, which is another ruminant species. So, when it comes to their sizes, magkaiba. Okay? Magkaiba yung growth and size ni goat. At magkaiba rin yung growth and size ni, compared doon sa growth and size ni cattle. So, within species, there's large variations within the size and growth rate. Body composition, magkakaiba yan. Magkaiba si goat when it comes to growth, body composition, and size compared doon sa cattle. And among within yung species ng cattle, kumbaga. So like for example, you have a smaller breed ng cattle and then a larger breed ng cattle. Like for example, Brahman and then other ones, you have yung mga Holstein, Jersey natin, magkaiba pa rin yung growth. So meaning, iba-iba yung growth nila sa magkakaibang species and even with the same species kasi magkakaiba rin yung breed nila. Okay? So growth and mature size are determined by genetic factors. First of all, for genetic factors, meaning yung breed ng animal can determine the growth of it as well as the non-genetic factors. Ano yung mga non-genetic factors natin? It can be climate. This can affect the growth. Like for example, if you put a temperate breed of cattle, like for example, a Holstein dito sa Pilipinas, it can affect its growth. Bakit? Because of the climate. Hindi sanay yung Holstein natin with the climate, with the hot or warm climate of the Philippines. And then this can affect the growth. Okay? It can stress the animal enough that it can have a detrimental effect doon sa growth niya. Okay? Then, aside from climate, you have nutrition. That is given. Hindi naman lalaki yung isang animal if it does not if you do not meet the nutrient requirement. So if the nutrition is parang great, parang maganda yung binibigay mong pagkain doon sa animal, then most certainly lalaki yan because you provide the nutrients that the animal requires for growth. Pero pag hindi naman, walang nutrients na kinakain, ini-ingest, ina-absorb ng animal, hindi yan mag-grow. Okay? And then lastly, for the non-genetic factors, you have management. So, kahit maganda yung breed, maganda yung climate na tinitirhan ng animal, if the management is poor, wala rin mangyayari. Okay? So, hindi mag-grow ng maayos yung animal. Okay? Parang sinasabi, if the genetic genes of that animal dictates that it will grow large, pero your management is poor, hindi yan lalaki to its maximum potential. So, parang stunted yung growth. Okay, so you need to have or you need to take into consideration aside from the genetic factor of the animal, you need to take into consideration when it comes to growth of the animal, the climate, the nutrition, and management. Okay? So, if we look into it, first factor that affect the growth of animal, physiological stage and stage of maturity. So, all animals within a species or breed do not grow, develop, or mature at the same chronological age. So, yan. Yung physiological stage, like for example, ito parang ano to, different body or physiological stage ng isang cattle wherein kung makikita, iba-iba yung growth, yung pag-gain ng body weight as it matures. Kasi iba yung stages of maturity, iba yung physiological stage. Okay? So all animals within species or even breed do not grow, develop, or mature at the same time. Hindi pwede na yung breed mo ng cattle, isang breed mo ng cattle, perfect na magkaparehas, na magkapareho yung body weight, yung growth rate. Okay, hindi yun pwede kasi it all depends on physiological stage and even stage of maturity. Okay, so for the increase in weight ng different physiological stages and stages of maturity, it is often associated with different growth patterns for the organs that make up the body. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, yung increase ng weight mismo, overall weight ng mga animals natin through different physiological stages, it is often because of the increase or growth of the organs that make up the body. Like for example, nag-grow yung liver, nag-grow yung kidney, your lungs. So most internal organs kasi are early maturing. They approach their mature weight before final body weight is reached. So ang ibig sabihin, na-mature na yung internal organs before the animal actually reaches its final body weight. So all of this, like for example, nung bata, yung mas bata, yung stage of maturity is bata. Usually, most of the weight that is observed, the increase in weight that is observed doon sa bata, it is because of the increase in the growth rate of these internal organs. So, among other organs, laging tatandaan, the order of maturation or growth is first doon sa skeleton. So, magmamature yan una, and then second is the muscles, and then the last will be the fat. So, kung makikita doon sa diagram na pinakita ko kanina, talagang mauuna na mag-develop yung mga muscles and fats. Muscles and skeleton, and then they will eventually decline as it grows older. Pero yung fat, slow start, pero at the same time, slow start, so meaning siya yung last na magmamature, pero at the same time, siya yung parang mag-i-increase as the animal grows older. Okay, so yan, the order of maturation is skeleton, muscle, and then fat. So, at younger ages and lighter body weights, bone is present at greater proportion than muscle and fat. And then, respectively, than at older age and heavier weight. So, ang ibig sabihin, pag mas bata yung animal, yung proportion when it comes to bones, muscles, and fats, yung pinakamataas is bones. Okay? Then, compared ito sa older age. Okay? So, yeah. So aside from physiological stages, another factor that will affect the growth of animal, more on like genetic factors ito, doon sa breed. Okay? Growth and carcass composition differ among breeds of farm animals. So kung makikita dito sa ating picture, yung nasa taas it is an Anglo-Nubian goat. Compared dito sa Philippine native goat natin, when it comes to those two breeds, mas maganda talaga yung growth and carcass composition ng isang Anglo-Nubian compared doon sa Philippine native. Okay? So because of their breeds and because of the genes or the genetics that plays a factor on the growth of these animals. So, in beef cattle, like for example, there is a relatively large variation between Bus taurus breeds and Bus indicus breeds for growth and carcass traits. It mainly depends on the breed. Pero iba kasi yung parang growth ni Bus taurus, which is usually those that are in temperate breeds, temperate regions. Kasi malalaki yung mga muscles nito, malalaki yung mga muscles ng mga Bus taurus, magaganda yung growth nila. I'm not saying na yung mga Bus indicus breeds natin, usually ito yung mga nasa tropical regions kasi. na hindi rin maganda, pero yun nga, there is still a there is a variation between yung Bus Taurus breed natin at saka yung Bus Indicus breed natin. So, okay, so kung makikita, like for example, dito sa ano natin, dito sa parang table natin, kita si Hereford, si Limousine, si Charola, DL is yung parang bland na um, breed, DB is yung Belgian Blue, yung mga yan, SM is Cimental. So those are the breeds of cattle natin. So like for example, yung ano niya, muscle weight. I am guessing this is muscle weight gain per day. So grams per day. So kung makikita si Hereford nasa 102. Si Limousine 109, 113, 115, 116, 116, 119, 117. So may parang variations when it comes to the muscle weight. Parang ganun. So makikita dito na within breed or within the species, yung mga different breeds within that species, magkakaiba yung growth nila. Okay? So aside from breed, aside from physiological stage, yung another factor that affects growth of an animal is the gender. So growth rate and composition of gain of animals are significantly affected by differences in gender. So arising mainly from effects of sex steroids. Ang ibig sabihin nito, usually kasi, pag lalaki, intact male, compared to a female, mas malaki talaga yung ating mga bulls, like for example dito, compared to our cows. Mga ganyan. Okay, so growth rate and composition uh, of gain of animals, magkaiba in between gender. So aside from gender, you also have nutrition. Nutrition is the variable that managers of livestock production system have the most control over. Ang ibig sabihin, yung kasing breed, if you are stuck within that with that breed, then wala ka nang magagawa. Physiological stage, hindi mo naman maayos yan kasi may parang may established na physiological stage, meaning from young to young adult to mature, ganun. Okay, so hindi mo na yan mababago. Yung gender, hindi mo na rin mababago. If you are stuck with a male or a female, hindi mo na yan makokontrol. Pero when it comes to nutrition, ito yung parang variable or a factor that managers and raisers of livestock have the most control over. Why? Because you are the one that provides the nutrition to the animal. Okay? So it is one of the factors that will affect the growth of animal, the nutrition. So an animal requires a certain level of nutrition for the normal development and functioning of its body system. So this is commonly referred to as the maintenance requirements of an animal. So yan, ang ibig sabihin nito, all animals, livestock animals, within species, within breeds, requires a certain level of nutrition. A certain or specific level of nutrition within every species natin for the normal development and functioning. Meaning, kailangan ng parang certain amount ng nutrition para mag-develop at proper yung functioning ng mga organ system nitong mga animals natin. So, ang tawag doon sa nutrition na yun is maintenance requirements of an animal. Ang maintenance requirement maintenance requirement of nutrition ng isang animal, usually it is the one that will dictate na mabubuhay yung animal, that it will have proper functioning. So, additional nutrients are then required if optimal growth of muscle and fat is to occur. So, aside from giving them the maintenance requirement of nutrition that they need, you need to add further into their nutrition in order for them to grow and in order for their muscles and in order for their fats to grow. Okay? Or to develop. Parang ganon. Okay? So, ang ibig sabihin yan, if you as the raiser only provides maintenance nutrition to satisfy its maintenance requirement, you can still observe some growth pero hindi optimal. Kasi yung binibigay mo lang na nutrition is for its maintenance. Okay? And then, if you want it to grow further, then doon papasok yung pagbigay mo ng additional nutrients, supplements, or any other kinds of parang nutrient management that you need in order for your animal to. So, the consequences of poor nutrition can have multiple consequences. So, like for example, if hindi maganda yung nutrition mo, you can observe stunted growth, pwede, since the nutrition of the animal is not provided, it is not optimal, and the malformed organs, pwede rin, kasi hindi siya, the animal do not have enough nutrition in order for it to actually develop its organs properly. Then, because of nutrition, poor nutrition, the immunity of the animal can actually um, decrease, or the immunity is compromised, kumbaga. So it can lead to diseases. Brittle skeletons also. Okay, because in order for the skeletal system to actually grow, you need to have nutrition, especially minerals, in order for it to develop properly. And if there's poor nutrition, then it can lead to brittle skeletons. And then it can also increase the susceptibility to parasites when you have poor nutrition. And then there's poor reproductive performance. Because when it comes to reproductive performance, you need nutrition in order for the animals to perform well when it comes to reproduction. Okay? So kung makikita dito sa ating diagram, makikita yung parang effect effect ng poor nutrition sa isang ito pig. So kung makikita, kung ito yung ideal na sa body condition score na 3, yung body condition score na 1, emancipated na. Ibig sabihin yan, nakutong launa yan because of poor nutrition. And this can lead to these consequences. Okay? So all of these consequences lead to reduced income for the owner of the animals. Kasi nga, pag poor yung nutrition mo, eventually, the weight gain, the productivity of that animal decreases. And if the productivity of the animal decreases, then this can lead to reduced income. Kasi nga, the income of a farmer, especially animal raiser, depends on the productivity of the animal. So if the productivity of the animal decreases, then the income also decreases. Okay? So when it comes to nutrition, it is very important because it affects all stages of growth and development. Not only on the early stage of the animal, not only on the middle stage of the animal or the late stage of the animal. All of the stages, physiological stages, nutrition can affect that. Nutrition can affect the growth of it. Okay, so the nutritional status of the dam, like for example, throughout the gestation and lactation periods, has significant effects on the offspring development. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, if you have poor nutrition during the lactation and gestation period of like, the example is a dam, this can carry over into to the development of its offspring. Kasi nga, like for example, during lactation, you actually need sufficient amount of milk in order to, or nutrients, you need sufficient amount of nutrients in order to, for the dam to produce sufficient amount of milk for the offspring. Ngayon, kung poor yung nutrition niya, this can lead to poor growth of the offspring kasi walang nai-ingest, walang naiinom na enough milk. Okay? Yun yung ibig sabihin niyan. Then, aside from nutrition, another factor that affects animal growth is of the animal is diseases. So, any form of diseases, laging tatandaan, can negatively impacts the growth and development of the animal. So, sickness usually requires nutrients to be repartition and commonly cause reduction in intake. So makikita dito sa picture, it is like obviously makikita naman that it is a sick like calf. So judging by its appearance, makikita na talaga na the growth of it is compromised because of like disease. Makikita naman ng parang may disease or merong disease yung calf natin. And this disease can usually affect the growth. Bababa yung growth ng ating animal. Okay? Then, aside from that, yung disease kasi, it can also cause long-term consequences that impairs the animal's ability to harvest, digest, or absorb nutrients, causing long-term impairment of growth and development. Ang ibig sabihin nito, when it comes to disease kasi, some of your parang other functioning, normal functioning is compromised. And because of that, because the normal functioning of the body of the animal is compromised, then like for example, function for digesting or absorbing nutrients is also compromised. It can decrease the parang rate of digestion and absorption of nutrients. If those functions decreases the digestion and absorption of nutrients, then anong mangyayari? Walang masyadong madadigest, ma-absorb na nutrients yung animal. Now, sinabi ko kanina that nutrients is important for the growth of the animal. So, it can cause long-term impairment of growth and development. So, that's diseases. Then, the last one is the thyroid hormone. So, thyroid hormone or animals require thyroid hormones for normal growth. So, deficiencies of thyroid hormone cause reduced growth as a result of decreased muscle synthesis and increased proteolysis. So, ang ibig sabihin lang nito, yung thyroid hormone natin, pag deficient yung animal of the thyroid hormone, it can reduce the growth. Kasi nga, pag na-reduce yung thyroid hormone, it result in decrease in muscle synthesis. So, walang masyadong growth when it comes to the muscle as well as merong increase ng proteolytic activity, yung pag-breakdown ng protein. Okay? So, that's the last factor when it comes to the growth of the animal. Okay, now after that, we'll talk about naman yung biology of muscle and fat development. So how does, we will not go parang pretty deep into the explanations, but I will just show you paano ba or any parang facts in order for us to know paano na-develop yung muscles and at the same time yung ating fat. So first, let's go doon sa muscle growth natin. Muscle growth and development. So, because muscle is transformed into meat post-mortem, why are we talking about muscles? Kumbaga, yung ano natin is the meat we eat, yung chapter. So, it is important kasi to understand the mechanisms of myogenesis that regulates the tissue ante-mortem before we actually go into the meat itself. Kasi yung meat na yun, it is actually the muscle before rigor mortis. Kasi after rigor mortis, doon mo masasabi talaga after the muscle is stiffened. Yung pag-stiff kasi ng muscles noon, it signifies that wala nang parang wala nang calcium, wala nang nutrients yung or even oxygen yung muscle in order for it to actually do its function na nagko-contract, nagre-relax and nagko-contract. And yun, nagiging permanently stiffened na. So that's rigor mortis. And that is like the cue for it to be called a meat. Pero before that, pag buhay pa yung animal, hindi pa siya wala pang rigor mortis na nangyayari, then it is still called a muscle. And because of that, muscles grow. Okay? So, yung tawag, a more technical term for muscle growth and development is myogenesis. So, it is the formation of skeletal muscular tissue, particularly during yung embryonic development. Kasi after nun, more on yung postnatal growth na ng muscles natin, more on nasa hypertrophy na. Anyway, ma-discuss naman yan. So, the biogenesis of skeletal muscle tissue consists of 4 phases. You have yung embryonic, fetal stage, neonatal, and then yung adult stage ng myogenesis. Okay? So, the two types of muscle fibers are formed during the course of myogenesis. We have the um, uh, primary muscle fiber, which is usually during the prenatal myogenesis. And then you have yung secondary muscle fibers natin, which is usually during postnatal myogenesis. So this is in prenatal myogenesis, the stage of embryonic myogenesis is necessary to create the basic muscle structure, which is the primary muscle fiber. So it occurs, or the formation of the primary muscle fibers natin, it occurs during the prenatal myogenesis. So kung makikita dito, ito yan. You have a progenitor cell, myogenic progenitor cell, para for simpler discussion, sabihin na lang natin isa siyang cell. Okay? Ngayon, through determination, when it comes to determination, sabihin na lang natin na yung cell na yon na determine siya na magiging muscle cell siya. Okay? Nagiging muscle cell. Itong cell, gusto ko maging muscle cell ako. So that's determination. Then, through proliferation, yung muscle cells na yon, anong tawag nito? Proliferate. Meaning, yung mga yon, na-determine na sila as muscle cells, or myoblasts, and then, mag-multiply sila. Okay? So, yan, proliferation. And then, yung nag-multiply na yon, they will be differentiated. So some of those muscle cells that were proliferated or nag-multiply na, some of them will be or will become myotubes. Okay? Yung ito, na-differentiate siya into myotube. Some of those muscle cells kasi, hindi sila madi-differentiate into myotubes. Kumbaga, yung mga muscle cells na yun, they will stay as muscle cells. Eventually, they will develop into parang satellite cells. Okay? Pero some or most of them will differentiate into myotubes. Ngayon, itong myotubes na to, through maturation or modulation, nagiging muscle fibers. So meaning, isang myotube, and eventually, you create yung primary muscle fiber. Okay? So that's basically an overview, parang the simplest development natin when it explanation when it comes to parang prenatal myogenesis. Again, from a cell, a myogenic progenitor cell, it determined itself to become a myoblast or muscle cell, then it will multiply, proliferate. Di pa siya nakakabuo ng myotubules. Okay? Pero within that, na-differentiate siya, itong mga muscle cells na to, kaming mga muscle cells, magiging myotubes kami, myotubules. So, nagiging myotubes na sila. And then through maturation and modulation, nagiging muscle fiber. Eventually into a muscle fiber. And then these muscle fibers will titipon daulin in order to create the muscle itself. Okay, so that's the prenatal myogenesis. So, when it comes to postnatal naman, prenatal pala, in the early stage, sa parang sinapupunan pa lang hanggang sa eventually ito na-develop na into a proper being, pero bata pa, then that's prenatal. For postnatal myogenesis, after nun, na ipanganak, ganun. So, during postnatal growth, the increase in skeletal muscle is mainly due to an increase in the muscle fiber size. So, yan. Hindi na siya, kumbaga, hindi na nagdi-differentiate yung mga muscles, muscle cells, hindi na sila nagiging myotubules, kumbaga. Kasi nga, you determine the primary structure of the muscles during the prenatal myogenesis. Ang gagawin lang dito sa postnatal myogenesis, yung primary structure na yun, mag-grow. Okay? Lalaki. Pero the template for those muscles na nabuo na during the prenatal myogenesis. So, it is mainly through hypertrophy. Again, when we say hypertrophy, you have the hypertrophy, hyperplasia. Hyperplasia, it is like increase in number. Actually, it can be applied to the prenatal myogenesis doon sa proliferation ng cells. Kasi nag-i-increase yung number ng cells. Okay? Pero dito, hypertrophy yung nangyayari. You have determined um, you have an established number of um, muscle fiber, pero, and within those muscle fiber, you have yung mga muscle cells mo, ang gagawin na lang, mag-increase in size, which is called hypertrophy. So, you have ganito yung, like for example, ganito yung size ng muscle cell, and then nag-increase. So, it will eventually looks like this. Dito sa diagram natin, you have yung muscle hypertrophy. From this, nag-increase in size. Pero makikita that it is the same muscle. Ang ano lang, yung muscle size. Nag-increase lang yung muscle fibers. Okay? So, yan yung postnatal myogenesis. So, with that, we also have yung fat development or yung lipogenesis na tinatawag. So, when it comes to lipogenesis naman, it is the process by which the body synthesizes or creates new fat molecule. Synthesizes meaning produce new fat molecules. So, in fat development or lipogenesis, it involves the conversion of excess dietary carbohydrates, particularly glucose, into fatty acids which are then stored as triglyceride in adipose tissues or yung mga fat cells natin. Ang ibig sabihin lang nito, you need to have excess when it comes to the nutrition ng carbohydrates. When it comes to carbohydrates, in the ingestion of carbohydrates, in order for you to actually develop fat. So, ang nangyayari ngayon, it goes to yung process ng respiration, cellular respiration. Like for example, yung excess carbohydrates na yun, it can be broken down, and then will go into tricarboxylic acid cycle and then eventually into fatty acids that are stored in the triglycerides in adipose tissues. So, the key steps in lipogenesis, first is glucose uptake. So, after you consume carbohydrates, the body breaks them down into glucose. Okay? Na-break down yan into glucose. So, this glucose is then absorbed into the cell, including yung mga fat cells natin. So, that's first one, glucose uptake. And then after you actually have the glucose itself, then glycolysis will happen. So when we say glycolysis, it's the breakdown ng glucose into pyruvate. So glucose undergoes glycolysis and then a series of biochemical reaction convert it into pyruvate. So yan. After na uptake, meron ka ng glucose, then you proceed to glycolysis. Glycolysis meaning lysis, it is a breakdown. Glyco or glycogen, it is the breakdown of glycogen, okay, or glucose. So yeah, into pyruvate. Then that pyruvate actually goes into the tricarboxylic acid cycle. So it will form the acetyl-CoA formation, or it will undergo the acetyl-CoA formation. So the pyruvate is then further converted into acetyl-CoA, which is a key intermediate in lipogenesis. Ang ibig sabihin, in order for fatty acids to be produced, it needs to be formed into acetyl-CoA. So this process occurs in the mitochondria of the cell, specifically on the tricarboxylic acid cycle. Okay? Then, after that, fatty acid synthesis can occur. The acetyl-CoA is then transported from the mitochondria into the cytoplasm, wherein it participates in the synthesis or production of fatty acids through a series of enzymatic reaction known as the fatty acid synthesis. Itong nandito sa part na to. Okay, eventually, yung acetyl-CoA na yon, it will form fatty acids. Then, those fatty acids are then combined with glycerol to form the triglyceride. And that triglyceride ngayon is the primary storage form of the fat in the adipose tissues. So doon, after fatty acid, it will combine with the glycerol and then eventually into to form the triglyceride, which is the primary storage form ng fat natin or yung adipose tissues natin. So basically, that's how lipogenesis occurs or the development of fat occurs. So the lipogenesis actually is it is primarily regulated by the hormone insulin. So the hormone insulin, it is released in the pancreas and it is responsible for the elevation ng blood glucose level. So because of that, yung insulin na yun promotes the storage of nutrients including the synthesis of fat when carbohydrates are plenty. Okay, so that's how parang the overview ng ating fat development or lipogenesis. So from if you have high glucose content or high excess carbohydrates, then it will undergo into glycolysis and then will create pyruvate, then will go into acetyl-CoA formation and then eventually into the fatty acid synthesis to create fatty acids, and then it will combine with the glycerol to create triglyceride, which is the storage form na of fat. Okay, so that's basically the biology of fat development. So with that, that ends the video lecture for chapter 2, which is on the meat we eat, specifically on the first subtopic, which is on the animal growth and as well as the development of muscles and fat.